everyone, Leanne and I are back to discuss the new announcement, C-2503, regarding the policy for transferring care between child care facility and school. This announcement was issued on August 29th and will be effective September 15th, 2025. The purpose of this announcement is to update certified child care providers on the moment when care and supervision is transferred when children are picked up and dropped off for school. The background of this announcement is that children on the facility premises shall be supervised by a staff person at all times. The requirements for children to be supervised are in 55 PA Code 3270-113, 3280-113, and 3290-113. The discussion for this announcement clarifies that supervision during pickup and drop-off times for children must be clearly defined to ensure the safety and accountability of children and child care providers. Transfer of care from child care to school. Unless otherwise stated in a written agreement signed by the parent or guardian, care and supervision are the responsibility of the child care facility until the child either gets on a school bus or enters the school building. The transfer of child care processes or policy must be documented in the child care agreement or handbook. Transfer of care from school to child care. Supervision by the child care facility begins when the child exits the school bus, once the child enters the child care bus or van, or when a staff person arrives to walk the child to the child care facility, unless otherwise stated in a written agreement signed by the parent or guardian. The transfer of care processes or policy must be documented in the child care agreement or handbook. To avoid any gaps in supervision and to ensure accountability, all transportation arrangements that allow for unsupervised travel must be clearly stated, approved, and signed off by the parent or guardian. For example, if a child is permitted to walk independently to school or the bus stop in the morning, or to walk to the facility from the bus stop or school in the afternoon, this must be clearly stated in the child care agreement or handbook. Transfer of care processes or policy that are documented in the handbook must be accompanied by a signed receipt from the parent or guardian documenting they have received and read the handbook. This ensures clear expectations around when and where supervision transfers between the child care facility and the school. So I'm going to ask Leanne a few questions that will hopefully help to clarify any areas that you may need further guidance on. Hi, Leanne. What bus is this announcement referring to? A school bus picking up a child from the facility and taking them to school?
This announcement refers to children being transported to or from the child care facility in a bus or other vehicle owned or operated by a third-party service provider. As referenced in the announcement, the bus or other vehicle is not owned and operated by the child care facility.
If children walk to and from school or the bus stop with staff supervision, does this meet the requirement of the announcement?
If children are appropriately supervised by childcare staff at all times until the children get on a school bus or enter the school building in the morning, and until the children exit the school bus or exit the school building in the afternoon, then the requirements of this announcement are met. The written agreement referenced in this announcement is only required if children are walking to or from school independently where they are unsupervised.
If children walk to school or the bus stop without staff supervision, how can a provider meet the requirements of the announcement?
If children are permitted to walk independently to school or the bus stop in the morning and/or from the bus stop or school in the afternoon, this must be clearly documented in writing. The written documentation must be accompanied by a signed receipt from the parent or guardian documenting that they have received and read the information. Please note that the parent must use their full signature and not just initials to indicate receipt of the information.
Is the signature on the agreement sufficient if the box on the screen is checked and the form is signed by the parent?
If the written transfer of care process or policy is written within the handbook or any documents used to meet the requirements of 3270-121, 3280-121, or 3290-121, this would be acceptable.
If a child care facility is dropping off at the school in the drop-off line, can the child care staff remain in the bus and watch the children walk into the school from there?
Child care staff can remain at the vehicle when dropping children off to school when the school is open and prepared to receive children. Child care centers and group child care homes, per 3270-177B and 3280-177B, are required to supervise children during boarding and exiting vehicles by an adult who remains outside the vehicle. In this instance, if this adult is a school facility person, this would be permissible.
Many programs drop off or pick up children at school using an outside drop-off pickup line where the children wait under the supervision of a school staff person. Are the school staff that are outside the school supervising the children considered responsible for the children until they enter the school or board vehicles?
Child care facilities must continue to comply with the drop-off pickup policies established by the school. If the school drop-off or pickup policy is that children are to be supervised by a school staff person who waits with the children at pickup or drop-off outside of the school, this would be acceptable. However, it would not be acceptable for the children to be sitting in a line outside of the school with no school staff present to supervise, unless there is written documentation as described in Announcement C-2503.
When does the responsibility for supervision of children begin and end for before and after school programs that are located in the school building?
In the case of school-age programs operating in the school building, a before-school childcare program maintains responsibility for supervision of children until the time when the children are to be dismissed to the care of the school, for example, when the school bell rings, unless the facility has otherwise agreed, as specified in writing per Announcement C-2503, to maintain responsibility of the child beyond this time. An after-school childcare program assumes responsibility for the children once they arrive at the location of the childcare program, unless the childcare facility has otherwise agreed, as specified in writing per Announcement C-2503, to assume responsibility of the child prior to the arrival at the location of the child care program.
For children who are released to or from school independently, with all required documentation on file per Announcement C-2503, do staff need to visually confirm that the child left the child care facility safely?
Children must be appropriately supervised until they leave the child care facility.
Does responsibility for supervision from the child care facility end when a child is signed out by a parent, guardian, or designated person?
Yes.
Do these requirements apply to school-age children only, or would they apply to younger children being transferred to or from another entity's care? For example, Head Start or a pre-K counts program.
The same requirements would apply to children of any age being transferred to or from another entity's care. Children must be under the supervision of the child care staff both to and from any other program or contracted service, unless specified in writing similar to the requirements of Announcement C-2503.
Thank you for answering all of these questions, Leanne. We hope this helps providers to meet the announcement and to continue ensuring the health and safety of our children in care. If you have any questions that were not covered, please reach out to your certification representative for further guidance. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.